Zoom kicks in here to the old YouTube. GP, how's the weather? It's summertime there, right?
It is. It is. We did about a 4 mile hike yesterday. Nice. We're with family, so it's
Excellent.
about if you're looking at the temperature, it only looks like 80, but it's it's super hot.
It's warmer than that, right?
Yeah, the sun is we're in like the ozone layer where it's the hole, and so everything is just much hotter, even though the temperature doesn't say it.
All right.
It's about 8
We
a.m. on a Wednesday for me here.
we woke up with about 3 inches of snow. So the boys didn't have school, so that was great. But yeah,
Yeah, it's like -10 here.
Oh my goodness, that's kind of cold.
yeah, I don't want any part of that.
Makes you feel alive.
It does. I can also understand why you got the beard then, because that makes sense. It keeps you warm.
100%.
Yeah, dude. Negative. I've only been to your area once, that Minnesota area,
Yeah.
and I still remember I was there for work, maybe like 2 nights, and the last night I was staying at a hotel, and I had a glass of water and I forgot something in the hotel room or one of the days, doesn't matter what day it was, but forgot something in the hotel room, left my water outside on the ledge in a cup, went upstairs, came back, and there was a nice thick layer of ice on top already. I was like, what just happened?
You guys are gonna like my tweet today. Um, why is it telling me that's spelled correctly? All right. There we go. There's the stock twit. I even hate to go to this website to post what I'm going to post over there, but whatever. Promotional vehicle only. I do miss the blue bird.
What's your beef with Elon now?
It's not now.
Oh, it's been ongoing.
How long have we been doing this podcast?
No, well, I didn't know if there was something new.
No, he's just a piece of shit. And the stock,
It's got to be based on his ego, right?
the
The
stock
higher
sucks.
his ego goes, the lower the stock goes.
Yeah. All right, we got 3 watchers already. Hi guys, welcome. Welcome to the pod. We're here. Got the Tesla chart up. I don't know why. Uh, I've seen all along this drip here is like it's at its bottom, it's going to bounce. All right.
Oh, it hasn't even accelerated, dude. Like, if you know anything about Tesla's history in trading it, this is not even panic. We're not even
No,
in panic mode, right? We're going back to 250,
I mean
if
we're only
not
down
lower.
seven and a half percent in 2 trading days, so 10% last
But
week.
it's the grind, right? It's 3 to 5% every day consistently forever. So, um, if you look at the if you look at the stock, we talked about this, I don't know, a few
Well, I
months
mean, if,
ago.
if you look at a 364% increase from there or a 243% increase from there, I mean, 32% to the downside's kind of meh, right?
And now do it from November 2021.
November 2021. Where's November? Right about there.
We can
Yeah,
put
but
times in charts too, right? So that was
yeah.
almost over 3 years ago. So I think that the biggest thing in for me is in all my years of holding it, every time Elon talks shit, he delivers. And when it happened in 2013, 2014, when it happened in 2019, he delivered and he continued to deliver. So the stock got re-rated for earnings margin expansion in October of last year, 2024. And that's why you saw that big move. And then he shit the bed on that earnings, and everyone's like, "Oh, look to the future." I was like, Tesla has hardly ever traded on future value. It has traded because earnings got re-rated nearly every time. Most future value is just a big old box of chop. So I don't know if it's gonna find any support. Dude, we're down 150 points on the stock, and there's not even panic.
As we were coming on, I was thanking the stock gods that I didn't get assigned those 420 shares. So feeling pretty good about that. Nick, you love you some Tesla. You buying here?
I thought about it. I gave TSL, I still have shares from 200, so I don't really care to like wreck my cost. I've tried to trade around it via TSLL, both to the long side and the short side. Short side, it was kind of tough for me to hold, but I mean, I made money on the trade. It just wasn't great. If you look at the weekly,
It's what's on the chart right there.
yeah, it's pulling into the 30-week moving average, which is the 150-day. And it's the first test of it since it went stage 2. So if I'm not gonna buy or add here just because I don't really want to try and catch a knife, but what I'm hoping for is like a mid-range close on the week. And then I would use this week's candle as risk to add to it because my mindset would be it found support at the 30-week after breaking out of its long, however many years through 2, 3, 4 year consolidation period. This is the first retest of the 30-week or the 200-day, either one. They're both kind of like right there in line between 305 and 330. But
That's when he bought Twitter.
if I have a candle where it like has a doji look to it or like a long tail, then that's the type of candle that I'd like to risk against. But
A long tail meaning that it has a candle body up top with the tail pointing down, right? So
yeah,
it was bought up there.
yeah. So um again, like my
Something
preference,
like this one.
yeah, something like that for sure. But I mean, it's on the daily, it's wildly oversold. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce here if it sustains. That's kind of obviously to be determined. On the daily, the 1111 and the 11/8 candle are the two highest volume daily candles on the chart. And we obviously took out the 1111 candle. And we're kind of like at the low of it right now. But if you zoom out again to where you're at on the weekly, that 11/8 weekly candle is really the one that you should be paying attention to. If we get inside, because like as of right now, we're literally just testing the high of it. If we get
So
within
this one right here.
yeah, so if we get within that candle, then I would definitely more fall into GP's camp where we're probably heading. The game plan would entirely shift to looking for a 200-day undercut, and the 200-day undercut would get us down to 250. And then you'd be looking for like some type of setup for the 200-day to get reclaimed. But I'm still a Tesla believer, a long-term bull. I don't know. We don't feel the same way about Elon, so
Well, no, I mean, kick my feelings of Elon to the curb. I mean, he
yeah.
is
I'm just speaking technically and how
attached
I'm
to the company, right? And I try not to make personal decisions about my investments, but I do try to take what I believe are more moral and ethical stakes. I'm just talking about the price. Like it looks like hot
technically
garbage.
it definitely got extended and pretty far extended from the 200-day. So I think that's why from a again, just like a technical perspective, I think that's why we're seeing the pull-in that we are. And I agree, like there's no like if you look at the daily, there's really not a lot of like above average volume sell bars. There were back in late December. towards that kind of capitulation high. But since then, we've only seen two daily bars that have been above average sell volume. So yeah, again, to GP's point, like you haven't even seen any, like this thing could easily flush to 270. Like I don't think that's
Is that
out
where
there.
you're looking to, GP's 270 area? Because that kind of
No,
jived
guys,
on the daily.
the yeah, it's going lower than any of that stuff. It doesn't go on hopium. It never has. Maybe it changes, and I think that's what you realize. Like it rejecting 488 before earnings, and then not finding any footing before. It's like they already knew that earnings were not going to be great, right? And the earnings re-rating that happened in Tesla in October happened at 213. Um, and he shot the bed like, dude, 13.6% gross margins when he was trending up for 3 quarters straight. He literally sold his soul to sell a Tesla. So if you're investing based on a car or earnings re-rating, it doesn't deserve any of the valuations that it gets. So to me, this undercuts all like I think it goes much lower. I hope it doesn't, and I play it here and there, but I don't like when when it didn't hold 414.50 back to back months, but still closed at all time highs. I was I was obviously a little bit more bullish, but Tesla in its history, when it breaks out of a 3 to 5 year base, it clears all time highs by a long shot and then does another 40 to 50% on top of that. So when it didn't, I felt like something was definitely off kilter here. So to me, it's we could be going back to the bottom of the space. Like so we did 101 in in
So you're just to be
in
clear, the
in
base
January
would be around
2023.
150.
What's that?
The base where I'm looking would be around 150. Or are you talking all the way back down to 100?
So like January 2023, it's hard to get the exact price because it's so
Yep.
wild on how it moves. So I would say
I
it
would.
went to 100 that first time, then 138 that last time. So maybe it undercuts 275 and then has a monster wild bounce or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, it just technically it looks terrible, guys. Like it's not like it hasn't found a buyer in months.
One of
Ever
Cookie's
since
pivots
December 20,
was
ever since
230,
December 18th.
and that would be right around this area, which could make some sense if it were to catch some legs there. But where
Yeah.
I've got the bottom of the range, never mind these undercuts because that's all they are, is just undercuts. That seems to be a support area there, and that's right around 155, 157, somewhere through there.
Hmm.
So that's I could I could even move it up. You could
Yeah.
convince me into 158, 59, but yeah, somewhere in that area that's where I would
Dude,
call it
what's 35% of 138? Sorry, I'll do the math.
35% of 138. I gotta get my calculator out.
187. So you can get around there potentially.
Yeah, that kind of aligns with here.
Right, so like 101 was the prior low, 138 was the low after that. So if it has a very similar move to those same exact things, the 35% above the prior low, right? Or 38%, so to speak, the fib number.
Nick, where along those lines would you be legging in? I know you like it here, and you were looking for that long-tailed
Yeah, I mean,
candle.
if we got it, I would definitely, I'll try and catch a knife at 300. I'll throw another order in at 280. if I'm gonna try and catch a knife. If I'm not trying to catch a knife, then I'm gonna wait for again either a long tail or like an ABC setup to
Do
the side.
do me a favor, Nick, when you
Yeah.
get a chance. Obviously not on the podcast, but go take a look at the two big declines last year of 2024 and into end of 2022 and early 23.
Yeah.
Um, when the acceleration happens and the panic hits, it's an extra like I think it's an extra like 25 or 30% that it goes down from there, like
Yeah,
after the panic,
I see that.
right? So I don't know. If you obviously if price changes and behavior is going to change over the next couple of weeks, then maybe. But it accelerates heavy once it starts breaking, right? Like it doesn't. It's not like 2021 to 2022. It was down 50%, right? And then he bought Twitter, and then it was down like another 50%. So um, just
Hey,
just keep that in mind.
hey Nick,
Yeah.
you're saying 300, 280. Where would you pull the ripcord and say we got to eject uh,
Probably
beyond 280?
under the 200 day.
So that would be 270, under 270.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a bad risk.
The only
Nah.
reason I would pull it there is just because if like it's not likely that if it heads to the 200 day, it's not likely to be like a tap and go kind of trade. It's going to undercut it or it's going to be messy.
Yeah.
You're going to see some volatility, even if it does hold the 200 day there. So if it undercuts it, I mean, I'd only be stepping aside to just redeploy the money elsewhere into another trade or to kind of preserve my own mental capital, I
I
guess.
mean, I think in that case, it would probably be unlikely to just hold the 200 day. Probably an undercut would be your best case scenario for a bounce, but a long-term moving average like the 200, like you're usually not getting a
I mean,
strong reaction out of that type of bounce. It needs to catch its footing to some degree. Wouldn't you agree
yeah.
with that?
Yeah, so you put in like a spike low, it kind of rallies a little bit, starts to roll over again. An ideal there is like you get a little bit of a higher low, and then you're buying that kind of like that B point. The higher low is your C point.
Yeah.
The rally high off the bounce is your B point, and then you're buying through there because then at least all you're risking is like that the C point getting taken out. You know, you're not
Yeah.
necessarily going to actually
I
catch a knife.
I completely agree with that, right? If it undercuts the 200, you probably have time to buy back in and not it be gone overnight.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And even if it does, like even if they took I mean what they're taking away is more or less the day trades, but like if you're like for whatever reason you catch the FOMO and you chase the gap, like at least you can risk the gap, because the thought process there would be like this is going to be a gap and go, if something like that happens. The 50% retracement on the basically from the 2024 low to the 2024 high is basically 312. So, best case scenario is that it actually holds there and it basically leaves people in the dust thinking that they're going to be able to add at 300 or add versus the 200 day
Yeah.
and just rips the other direction. But I don't have a crystal ball. I'm trying not to ruin my cost and I'm trying to hold on to that as long as I can because I am a longer term bull, obviously.
You're on mute, GP.
They will ruin it. You will have to like it. It just how that goes.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is
I mean, again,
here. I'll give you an example, Nick. If you bought in no, I'm saying if you bought
yeah,
Tesla in 2014 at the peak, or not the peak, yeah, I guess the peak in 2014 off the first move, which was pre-split price of 180.
Sure.
6 years later, in June 2019, you were a very, very lucky individual to buy it at the exact same fucking price.
I
So
yeah, but
they ruin everyone and anything in the stock. It's literally how it goes. You have to have um, ironclad nuts and a stomach and all kinds of stuff because this is a S&P stock that's over $1 trillion still and trades like a penny stock 90% of the time.
GB, I've never known you to be a Teslac.
A what?
A Teslac,
What's that?
a bear.
No, it's not. It's just how it trades. Like, I don't know if it, like
Well, short term
look
you
at
are. I mean,
yeah,
if you're
yeah,
saying
but
it's going to go down to, what number
I
was it?
would
You said 187. That's pretty bearish from here.
that's where I'm expecting it. This is how I've tempered my expectations over the years, right?
No,
Oh, it
that's
only got to 190. I win.
that's fair. I mean, these are your words, not mine. You were saying this is overvalued as a car company. Like this is all their,
Yeah,
reasoning
but
and
it's
rationale.
but take a look. It's been earnings re-ratings, the only thing that's broken it out of ranges. So
I'm not arguing with you.
yeah.
I don't disagree with you. Anyway, shall we
Shall
talk
we
something
move on
else?
to
Yeah.
shall we move on to the less idiots in the world?
Yeah, let's move on to less idiots in the world or more. I mean,
well, what's that?
pick your flavor.
I'd be curious to get your a more like let's talk about the indices real quick if you have a
Sure.
second.
Yeah, we
Like whether it's the SPY or the Qs, it doesn't matter. I
maybe
just
it's your show. We just here.
okay. Uh,
It's
are
almost like it's waiting for something to blow the roof off this market.
yeah. All
That's
right.
what it looks like to me.
Yeah. I'm trying to I'm trying to stay relatively small and doing less as opposed to more because I can't help but feel like we're gonna get one more leg lower, or one more push lower before we rip. But like, I don't know, just the way that the chart looks and the way that it's set up, like I feel like the November to now is basically just set up a big range or a big base for us to explode.
Dude, it's a beach ball underwater. This is
Yeah,
very, very similar setup to at least in my opinion, but I haven't looked at a chart in a few days, but it looks very, very similar to the January 2023 breakout, but that was just happening from the lower base.
I
sure,
can make a bullish argument about the chart. I still am waiting till we get through the first quarter, and that'll help me determine what I'm doing.
sure.
But I'm happy with the actions I've performed. I'm not ready to all of a sudden just go all in. Now we break out of this slightly downtrend that I drew on the chart. Yeah, I'll probably be a little more active. Um,
What
but
are
this is
you?
what it is until it breaks out of that and
Yeah,
ultimately takes out that, right?
yeah,
But
Like
it, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a cup. It's like a rounding cup, rounding formation at the July highs, right?
yeah.
Um, and yeah, like if yeah, that just looks to me that looks really bullish. I don't know.
yeah, I agree.
Not that it's doing anything at all, and it hasn't done shit in fucking forever, but
Well, it's
it's
chopping out it's chopping out the day traders that are getting caught on the wrong side.
Yeah, totally.
yeah, like.
That's what it's
Probably
And
even
this
doing.
was
more
happening
so
before it
like
was Trump's
shorter term
market, right?
swing
This has
traders
been
are the
going
ones.
on for a while.
Yeah,
Let's look at the spy. We rarely look over at the spy. I mean, I could argue that the spy looks better than the Qs.
SPY has looked better than the
yeah,
Qs. It's
I
it's
agree.
been well above the July range.
Yeah, I could make that argument for sure.
Yeah, I'm in that camp. It 100% looks better than the Qs,
So let's just
which
forget
is why a
about
lot more things are
forget.
participating, right?
Yeah,
If you're
Hmm.
looking at things, a lot more things are participating.
What do you say, Nick?
I was gonna say basically we just need to forget about individual names and go straight after the indexes. make it even.
Oh, this is a new take. Tell me more.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, hey, like, why bother? Like, let's just throw it at the index. Just throw the money at the index.
Because I just don't think the index has the enough percentage move,
No, I
right?
know.
From
I
here.
agree.
Yeah, like you might get 5% in index over the next 3 weeks, but you can get that in Apple today for some reason. All of a sudden, Apple is green
Yeah.
monstrously, um, for no reason at all. Do you think Apple
Hey
has any?
guys,
Here's the question for you guys. Do you think Apple has any value other than just being a index protector and seller, right? Like it doesn't feel like
Like,
Apple moves on its own anymore, right? If there's any reason to go and like it's all just if the index is doing really bad, then Apple will be green. It was the first to go green on the DeepSeek news. It's like it's almost like the balancing mechanism in the markets.
I mean, I don't know what you're looking for me on Apple for. I mean,
yeah.
No, I just feel like it's a proxy for handling if the market's doing pretty poorly, let me bring up Apple to make sure it's not dying too badly.
yeah, no, I mean, sure, I understand the importance of Apple, and I mean, we've counted off before every time that this is the demise of Apple, right?
Yeah.
I just marked five of them on there just for shits and giggles. But I think Apple is going to remain a leader. And the chart indicates as such. I don't see anything that's more than consolidation currently in the chart. And I'll pull up
Yeah.
the volume. I mean, volume's not crazy anywhere. So yeah,
No, no, nothing's
Apple's treading water. I mean, it's up this week right now, 2.5%. So it's
yeah.
doing better than other names. But I like we talked about, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? All these cloud names are popping. So it's where do you want to deploy the money? Um, Nick?
Yeah. I mean, on the names that have been running, it just seems like some of the stuff is a bit extended. I think it's kind of again, like we saw a lot of the. I was hoping to see a more continued or follow through to like some of these like drone names and
Give me
like
one.
kind of like ACHR. Um, which I still like it. I still own it. I just wanted to see more of a follow through candle today, but we're holding the 50 day, which is kind of
ACHR.
ACHR, yeah. Like all the drone and robotic companies are where there's been a lot of kind of like momentum. You
Looks
know, they're
pretty
like
good.
the next quantum computing fad, I think.
It looks a bit like a crypto chart right now. Um, you'd want to see it hold that $9, I think, but it looks pretty good. I mean, yeah, it's extended, but you'd kind of expect that when you have that play out.
I mean, as far that and like I agree with you. I think Net's definitely best of breed, but then you've got like Datadog looks meh, okay. Your Snow looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it does.
Like that looks like on the daily, it looks like just a nice looking cup and handle.
No, looks like it is ready to rip. It just needs
Yeah,
just a breath of volume, and it looks like it could go.
gone. I don't even think it'll hesitate at that whatever that 230 area. Like I think it blows right through that.
I mean, that could, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
But I think that's probably the next magnet. Crowd still crushing. Palo Alto looks all right, just kind of trending. ZS was looking pretty good. That's back at kind of like its range highs. So you got cybersecurity.
That kind of looks
Right.
frying pan bottomish to me right there.
Yes, it also draw the trend line from the top at the peaks, right? It's now been there a few times, so maybe it's something to pay
There you
attention
go.
to.
Yeah. And I love these types of setups like this one on the Z scaler because if you were to lose, let's say last week's low, you
Yeah.
know it's going to set back up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So even if you're getting in here, I mean you're risking what is that? You're risking
it's a couple of points. It's not a lot.
yeah, 10 points to the downside for it to go, right?
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I
But
like
just but this is so similar in so many names, right? Like we
Yeah.
get to these resistance points and they just don't do anything.
I'm just browsing through some of the IGV names. Now
So look at the ad space too.
look at Salesforce. Salesforce looks like it might be under a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely want to see it hold this 320-ish level. Definitely the three teens, or that could be a slide. And then that's a leader in that space that all of a sudden could be tumbling.
Well, how's Palantir doing? The
Bar-
ultimate.
Inside bar today.
It's topping, right, Palantir? That's essentially, I think, what's happening in
Yeah, I would say
Palantir.
that's
But
indication of topping. Yeah.
yeah,
Not a forever top, but a local top, right? Like we use nomenclature a lot that I don't want people to necessarily automatically think, well, Palantir will never reach $115 again. That's not what topping necessarily means, but it looks
yeah,
like it's lost momentum and it might be setting up a local or a short-term top. Is that accurate, G?
yeah. Wingstop, we talked about topping in May, I think, last year, and it took another 4 months to top out, right? So
Yep. Yep.
this is not immediate. It's just a pattern.
We got a whole bunch of
Strong day.
questions. You guys want to jump on some of those?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try
Uh,
because my internet's not fantastic, but let's
well,
see.
it's okay. Unity. You. Anybody like you here? Um, not for me, not right here. I keep a watch on the name. Um, but I want to see it retake these moving averages. It's under pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, you might convince me to take a stab somewhere in the teens and I'd be okay with it, but I have enough roadblocks in the account that I'm not too worried about. That's something else we need to talk about, GP, is you're all of a sudden out on roadblocks.
Yeah.
Anyway, Unity
Uh,
before we get to roadblocks. Either of you have a case on Unity?
no.
Yeah, I
No,
would
I
like
haven't
it.
really looked.
I'd like it somewhere in the teens if it came. All right, roadblocks.
Hold on.
You said you're out, GP, because the price action was wonky and sucked.
I I yeah, I didn't like it.
I think
And
whoever bought these 50s is absolutely loving it, Nick.
probably, but you could have bought the 50s 4 months ago that it gave back in exactly 1 minute. And
Yeah.
so um it's fine. Like I'm okay to not be involved here. It got to the pivot and everything that's gone into the pivot has gone back to the prior pivot, right? Nearly everything. So
Yeah.
if it gets tagged in after hours, it eventually gets tagged again. FYI.
So 50s could come again soon.
Yeah, look at let's take Tesla for example, right? It went from 365 to what? On that earnings? All the way up to like what, 430?
Where am I looking here?
The last earnings in January 29th or whatever it was. After hours, it
Yep,
wicked
right
down
there.
to, yeah, it wicked down to what, 365?
Yep. And it went
And
up
then what,
to 414 that day.
yeah.
413.
But over the next couple of days, right? It went all the way to like 420, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
419.99.
yeah, Costco discount. Nice. And what is that? Like a 20% bounce,
Something like that.
right? And so 20% bounce to now, will
15.
Tesla ever see green again, right? So, um, when things get tagged after hours, they tend to get tagged again in the future. In Tesla's case, it's 5 minutes. In others' cases, it might be 4 months.
All right, GP. So then back to Roblox. If
Same
you would
thing,
if you would expect it to come down in somewhere in the 50s here, would you be willing to repurchase it down there?
probably.
Right.
I
You
just
you
don't.
could be
I don't want to. I don't want to. Everything's been basing and ranging and chopping, going above pivots, coming back to pivots. Like holding these names is not something that's beneficial anymore. So, um, was up a lot from
yeah.
on Roblox. So I'm like, I don't want to see it going from up a lot to being up marginally. So, um, I'll get back in and because there's nothing on this in this market that's leaving you behind,
Nick,
except for
you were a
maybe
buyer last week on Roblox, right?
Yeah, I bought it. I have it at 62.
You just trading it or you bought it for the long term?
Just trade. I mean, I like the stage two basically breakouts. I mean, above 50, but basically about $50. Like I think we're in a stage two uptrend. So you just got to kind of manage it, trade around it until, something kind of proves otherwise. I mean, it's extended from the 200 day. That's not to say it can't continue. Um, I think a lot of these names, like we'll see really well where when the indices finally kind of either break out or break down, I think is when we're gonna see like what really starts to stand out and separate themselves.
Dude, is there
Especially,
some news going on right now, guys? Sorry, hold on one second. Don't mean to interrupt because the markets are pretty red and the ticks are really high, right?
Hey
Like
Nick,
ticks are
where would you pull the ripcord on Roblox in your trade?
under that gap low. So basically under 60.
Got it.
Yeah, I've got to stop at 59.
Got it. JB wants to know about coin. Any chance coin earnings can get us to 350, 400 fast? I don't think it's going to be an earnings story that does
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, we're talking from here. I mean, 30%. I don't think that's going to be an earnings story. I think that's going to be some combination of things that gives it that pump, mainly crypto
Yeah,
trending, and it's not right now.
no, yeah, I agree. I think you're better off with like, I mean, IBKR is obviously extended now, but I think IBKR was the play in terms of like the brokers in hindsight, obviously.
Wow, I haven't looked at this chart in a while.
But I think it was Charles Schwab was looking good too. SCHW,
Yep.
like they're catching like a massive breakout basically as we speak.
Yeah, that does look pretty good.
So I think don't if you're looking to trade, the brokers or for whatever reason, don't limit yourself to coin, like open up a basket. Not saying buy the basket, but have a basket on your watch list.
You know, I had traded coin, I guess it was or not coin, Schwab back in 2023 and it was somewhere in the 50s and
Oh,
sold out somewhere here closer to 70. Like, I don't feel like I've missed a lot. I mean, yeah, it's gone
it's
up,
it certainly
but
has
like
kind of
that would have been pretty miserable.
yeah.
See it get up to 80 and then fall back down to 60. That would, so I feel you on your Roblox commentary, GP.
Yep.
Was
Uh,
there a news drop that you saw?
What was that?
Was there a news drop that you saw? I didn't.
No, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's Roblox is yeah, it's just lots of things are just breaking out and coming back to pivots. Like nothing's really you can't miss much if the market's not going anywhere, Ben.
yeah, no, I know. That's why I was saying I'm selling stocks.
Yeah.
Isn't this the case that I was making? I mean, I expected a little more downside, but
No, you were expecting much further downside, no?
I'm still expecting some downside, but
Okay.
I put it in the framework of being a normal correction, which could be anywhere from 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
Dude,
We haven't gotten that, obviously.
did you see Elon's Twitter stuff? Did he really do that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. Hold on a second.
Dude, it's like
Um,
early morning for me here in New Zealand, so I haven't looked at
Hum
anything.
Humana is a
Okay. Sorry, I
question
thought
from
it was.
Alex. I have no interest in insurers, and the chart looks god awful.
If you're
Um,
looking at an insurer, Root is the better one.
I mean, I can understand why someone might be inclined to throw a position on around 220, but it's not for me. That's not behaving on anything that I typically like to throw money behind personally. But yeah, this is not financial advice, Alex. You can do what you want to with your own money. Alexander says the DAX is hitting all-time highs today. More highs coming to the Qs and SPY soon. The DAX, the German index.
I actually started a position in that one.
Wow, that is going crazy. What's the correlation in what the DAX does versus the S&P 500, let's say? Let's see. I mean, it looks like it's just been oversold for a very long time against the SPY. I should do SPX instead of SPY just to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time of underperformance. I mean, technically, yeah, it looks like a great trade against the US market, but I don't know how long that lasts. Kind of low volume though. I don't know if that matters any. 20 for an entire year, their volume has been cut in half. What's going on?
Yeah.
That requires some more investigation, uh, Alexander. If you have any more words of advice or what's going on there, you obviously pay attention to it. Hit us up in the chat.
I'm pretty sure they're waiting for Elon to run for prime minister so that he can berate everyone on Twitter as well.
What was Elon doing that you were fired up about there, Nick?
Oh, nothing. It was a parody account, but I think I don't know. I don't. I'm out of the loop like with what's going on between some judges and Trump and whatever. But I thought he changed his like ticker handle to Harry Balls, and
Well,
then so, like
between he and Kanye's rants over the weekend, Kanye was on one.
oh,
Anyway, oh my God.
either
Um,
way, that's probably my guess as to why Tesla's getting a beat down. I think it probably has more to do with that than anything else.
JB
No,
Sal,
it has to do with shitting the bed on earnings. Literally shitting like he when I did my expectations based on what I thought the numbers would come in, I had it around $28.2 billion. and he came in at like 25.7, which is in line with what they did last quarter. And he sold 30,000 more vehicles. He doubled his energy output, the energy storage solution that he's got, and his service revenue went up by I think 5% as well, which is not crazy. That's the supercharging network. So everything on his fundamentals increased, but the revenue didn't. What does that normally tell you? That means they had to severely undercut pricing to get any of this going, which is not a good sign. Like in my opinion, it's the worst thing I've seen from him since probably um yeah, probably like 2013, 2014 timeframe. A little bit after maybe. I can't remember the exact years, but um that was a pretty bad quarter, like earnings wise. And it had a positive reaction. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's different this time. Nope, not different.
Not different in the least. Hey Nick,
Yeah.
when we were talking about the indexes earlier, JB said index won't work for people who have smaller accounts.
Oh, sure. There's
Can you either dispel that or make an argument as to the index?
I mean, my belief around the indexes in general are, I think it depends on how you want to set up your life and manage your money. So like, I think it pays to have, whether it's like a Roth or some other account where you DCA in a basket of ETFs, more probably divvy paying ETFs are a better bet than just like, let's say, the SPY or the Qs. If you're trying to build a position in the SPY or the Qs, you would be like, your mind, at least my mind would be to build up a massive position to where I'd be, selling, I'd be like an option seller down the road at some point and just collecting premium. So that's why like I would go toward, like, let's say, the SPY and the Qs. I think you should, even as an active trader, like I like to have my accounts and my money segregated, like accounts that like I literally just DCA. It's like an insurance against my own idiocy. Like there's no saying that, well, there's that, tomorrow I just go off the rails and completely implode in my active trading account. So, but I think to his point, you can get you can use the indexes to battle inflation and to accumulate and to build wealth, but you're not going to outperform and get like fuck you rich by way of trading the indexes either. So you got to like, you know, it
You know
really,
what I love, Nick?
what's that?
I absolutely love robo advisors.
Hmm.
And that's my DCA, right? Like I just pump my money and let the robot do whatever it does. And I don't have to worry about me being an idiot. I don't have to worry about am I on the good or bad side of, a trend on the chart. It just throwing money, right? Like I tell the robo advisor I want this, and this at whatever percentages, and it does it. It tax loss harvests for me. It does everything, and it's just like this is better than a high yield savings account.
Sure.
And then I still do my own stupid things on the side, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like stupid not to though. Like have your crypto account, have your kind of degenerate account where you're, making smaller bets on kind of lotto plays. Have I don't know, and then whatever strategy you want to employ if you're an active trader, whether you're day trading, swing trading, trend trading, position trading, because I don't know, I find enjoyment in it. Like I find a lot of enjoyment in tearing apart charts, doing the chart work, doing the research. Like it's a big puzzle to me.
Yeah.
Um, and like at the end of the day, like your P&L is really just your grade. Like it's just your like how well you've basically figured yourself out, or figured not so much the market but more so yourself, because your P&L is largely going to be dependent on like your own level of discipline and adherence to your rules, your strategy, and whether or not you're in alignment with the current market behavior. Like our ability to take our foot off the gas when the market goes into chop mode versus putting the foot back on the pedal when we either break out or break down. And then on top of that, staying in alignment with the dominant trend. Like I think we're playing in the greatest sandbox game ever. I wouldn't change anything. So
Yeah. And I love I've used several robo advisors. I've used Schwab, I've used Wealthfront. Um, I mean it's great. I don't have to worry about getting caught up in one thing or another, and I just let it do its own thing. And at the end of the year, wow, I'm up whatever percentage I am. So it's fabulous. But of course, I like to do my own managed accounts. So that's just the way I built the way I do it. And for who was that? JB. You know, sometimes you have to build that nest egg to be able to throw on some of these trades. But I'm a firm believer in having a nice wad of cash locked away in just the market as a whole, not in individual names. But teach their
even
own.
in your active trading accounts, like you should be, I guess, who am I to say it, but like personally, I perform better when I'm pulling money out of my account and paying myself versus
Yeah.
just trying to accumulate because for whatever reason I start to chase this imaginary number. It's never enough. And then I end up like that's usually when I go into like a major drawdown.
Well, a lot of it is that mental equity that we talk about, right? Like it gives you your own, you know, safety to some degree, right? Like if you know that money is in a place that's just going to continue to grow,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to have ebbs and flows with the market, but it gives you sort of some safety and security as opposed to, well, I went all in or bet too much on this one setup that I really liked that didn't work out. And we've all been there.
Like that the chart of the S&P 500, I liken that to like a chart of human evolution. Like because the best of breed is always getting added, the worst is always getting removed. That means we're going to have periods of expansion and contraction, sideways movement, corrections, like so long as there's a market, you zoom out far enough, the S&P is going to continue to grow. So yeah, because they talk about like whether Bitcoin or gold being like a store of value, I guess.
Yep.
I look to the S&P 500 more for that than I do like gold or
Yep.
like Bitcoin, I think. Because like it's not like I'm not trying to outperform. Like you're not trying to outperform.
Just try not to lose money.
You're just trying to you should be deploying more money in the corrective periods than when we're trending and melting. But
What other questions we have here? Jason, our friend T Stock, is watching ACHR and Joby. Either one of those on your guys's what you said something about ACHR earlier.
yeah,
Joby doesn't look as good as ACHR.
no. I think you could probably have just like a kind of level of support between like $6 and $7. Like this is kind of what I'm talking about, like having kind of a segregation of accounts between like, let's say like a pure trend trading or like position trading account versus like a more of like a small like lotto type place. Cause like there's no reason, like if you think that like drones are going to be the next big thing, Like, dude, you should be able to scrounge up like 500-600 bucks, buy a couple hundred shares of this thing, and just let it go. Like size risk the thing to go down to $5 or $4 and just let it kind of do its thing. When it really starts to break out and you want to build into a bigger position, like go for it. But I don't know. Either way, Jobby, I think like you've got a floor kind of there between like $6 and $7. The 200 days at 6. I do think ACHR looks a lot better though. It's a little bit more extended from the 200-day. But
Yeah,
as
I
far as like
agree.
the chart goes, like I like it better.
Um, hey, and if anybody wants to check out the Robo Advisor, I have one linked in my link tree. Just shameless plug on my behalf there.
Ew.
MongoDB looks better than DDog. I looked at MongoDB this morning and it does look good.
Uh,
There's the weekly. I'm getting a little laggy. DDog still looks good to me though. I can't say it looks better. I don't know. You guys take MongoDB versus DDog?
I'd argue that Datadog looks better to me, but I
Yeah,
do like both of them.
yeah. I could fuck with either of them.
That totally.
GP?
I'd like DDOG better than MDB.
Yeah.
MDB could potentially have better percentage returns, but um, dude, there's so much left to prove for MDB's chart, personally.
MGMNI. I haven't talked about this in a very long time. In
Yes, the ad space.
yeah.
Great.
I mean that was a great break above the range. Is it consolidating or is it going to give some back here, GP?
I haven't looked at MGNI. I have apps, digital turbine. So
Apps. Digital turbine.
Damn. What a ripper.
Yeah, look at that volume
I like
bar.
both.
Look at that volume bar. That's very nice, GP.
yes, yes.
Were,
I
were you
bought
buying sub
initially.
$2? Please tell me you were buying sub $2.
The first one was 3, and then a gap down, that massive gap down.
Yeah.
I was like 315 and the massive gap down. So stops didn't work on that. So it was
Okay.
like, all right, well, I'm not selling here. Let's see what goes on. And then once it's stabilized, I bought it too.
Damn. Hey, your
Um,
NVIDIA trade, phenomenal, by the way.
What's that?
I said your NVIDIA trade, awesome. Phenomenal.
yeah. I mean, who am I but an idiot saying who's buying Nvidia here? And GP says it with my chest. I am. Um, our friend Jason says I actually like SMCI here against 38. Fight me. Well, you know I'm always up for a challenge.
No fight. It looks good.
Yeah. I mean,
Like there's no fight.
I would probably even give it to 35.
I'm just wary of how it behaves because it behaves like crap.
But yeah, 38 that would hold the 20 weekly. But I'm not kidding. I would give it to 35 if it were
All the
me.
semis are looking pretty good. Like
They're getting a little perky, all right? They're getting a little perky.
AVGO, Broadcom is kind of taking out a pivot high.
Intel today. I gave everyone Intel like 3 weeks ago.
Intel today, Intel not tomorrow.
I didn't say this is a long-term hold. I said any piece of shit can trade.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like the pattern is everyone gets really excited about Intel, and then it continues to shit the bed for 3-4 weeks straight. Oh, look at that! Look, it was just shitting the bed before it popped. It's just it's become such a mockery. But if you want to look at one of the names that comes from that era that is not behaving like Intel, Cisco.
Chuck still owes me money, so I'm begrudgingly pulling up this chart.
Oh, damn. That's a big base.
Yeah,
It's a forever base.
it's a forever base. But hey, what happens with IBM and its forever base?
They went and bought Red Hat.
Yes.
Has
Just
Cisco bought
saying.
anybody?
Didn't Cisco buy someone? Didn't they buy someone really popular?
Oh, I don't know. Let's ask some
Our
AI
group.
friends.
Splunk. They bought Splunk.
Splunk. Oh,
Oh, that's right.
that's a good win for them. I did not know that. When was this?
And we're talking about a couple years ago. And we're talking about cybersecurity, right? So
Well, it was
this could be
completed last March. So they've yeah, it's time for Cisco to go then. The same playbook from IBM is going to work on Cisco right here.
just saying, no one's paying attention. So
Yeah. No, that's a great call out because this was where's our weekly chart here? This was the mire that IBM was in, and somewhere around here they bought Red Hat.
I don't know when.
Yeah, no, it was somewhere around here.
And it really depends on management too. Usually it's a couple of years where it starts to play out in their, but look at, there's another one that bought a pretty decent brand. Gilead bought Celgene, I believe, right?
It completed in
Um,
2019.
that's another one you want to take a look at because
So
Gilead
again,
is
you
finally,
take out COVID, right? This
yeah,
is another one, GP. You take out COVID, right?
yeah,
And what is IBM?
a
Even
long
fatter
base.
base,
Dude, look at Guild.
the Widowmaker.
No, they bought Celgene. This is and a fat base. They bought Celgene, which was an up and
Yeah.
coming biotech at that time as well. And if they're starting to integrate them, this is what happens when you solve, you know, medical stuff, right? You do nothing. But
Yeah.
now Celgene may be one that comes in and takes it higher. So take a look at a lot of these bases are fantastic. It's been frustrating for shareholders, but some things to watch.
All right,
I
last
don't
one.
think your space is in SPY and index, right? What we were talking about before.
Oh, sure.
I think you got to find individual names in this stuff because um, you can see the action, right? Like on what we were just talking about earlier, which is the whole market is deep, deep, deep red, and Apple is up 5% for no reason at all, right? So they'll balance the markets in ways of where it's going. So looking for individual names probably makes more sense.
We got time for one more question. JB asked again, AMD and FSLR. Which one would you guys like to look at? I'll leave it to you two to decide.
Neither. You can go find me a better stock to look at.
That's what I was gonna say. Neither. I'm not a
I'll
fan of.
I'll
How
get
about we
my
look at
AMD take.
China instead?
Yeah, look at FXI or Baba.
Yeah.
Bubble looks great.
And we're not ignoring your question. Those stocks are just miserable. Yes, they can bounce, but how far, how much, who knows? They have been in downtrends for the better part of 2024 and obviously 2025 as well. So um, it's probably not worth the mental fortitude that you're probably going to lose on it if you buy it.
Everybody and their brothers looking for something in the 90s on AMD. Um, how long it takes to get there, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I still feel like that undercut of 114 is currently acting as resistance right now. So back above this sort of 114.40 area, I kind of feel like AMD's back in business, at least short term. But if it can't clear 114, yeah, you can make a case for the 90s for sure. There you go. There's my hot AMD take. All right, guys, that's it. That's an hour. That was a great session. I think we had them. Thanks to everybody who was tuning in on the stream, all the live watchers. We always appreciate you guys checking in and keeping the chat up for us. It's awesome. If you're watching this at some later date, maybe tonight or early tomorrow, thank you for watching and thank you for your time. We always love and appreciate all those views that you give us. Guys, any last words before we dip?
Yeah, love you guys. Love chirping with everybody on the twits too.
Yeah,
All.
it's great to have this platform. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, I was just yeah, whether it be Twitter or stock twits, I enjoy the banter and the idea sharing. So appreciate
Yeah.
everybody.
We'll
And
love
don't
you,
sleep on
brothers.
China. Don't sleep on China.
All
So
right, we'll be back next Tuesday, I think. And if not, we'll let you know. But we should be here. If not, again, we'll alert the posse out there about what our plans are. But without further ado, we will see you next time. Maybe.